Join me as I take on the challenge of facing my fear of failure head-on and share my journey to overcome it. You know, I think we can all agree that the fear of failure is one of the most crippling obstacles that hold us back from achieving our true potential. It's that nagging voice in the back of our minds that tells us we're not good enough, that we're not ready, that we're going to mess up. And you know what? It's time to silence that voice. The truth is, the fear of failure is not just a personal problem, it's a roadmap to mediocrity. When we let fear hold us back, we settle for a life that's less than what we're truly capable of. We play it safe, we stick to what we know, and we miss out on the incredible opportunities that come with taking risks. So why is it so crucial to overcome the fear of failure in 2024? Well, think about it. The world is moving faster than ever before. New technologies are emerging, new industries are being born, and new opportunities are arising every single day. And if we want to stay ahead of the curve, if we want to thrive in this rapidly changing world, we need to be willing to take bold action, to innovate, to experiment, and to take calculated risks. But here's the thing, we can't do any of that if we're held back by the fear of failure. We can't progress, we can't grow, and we can't reach our true potential. Let's talk about some of the common fears associated with failure. You know, like the fear of rejection, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of financial instability, or even the fear of what others might think of us. These fears are real, and they can be paralyzing. When we're consumed by the fear of failure, we start to doubt ourselves. We second-guess our decisions, we question our abilities, and we lose confidence in ourselves. And before we know it, we're stuck in a vicious cycle of fear, self-doubt, and inaction. The fear of failure also affects our relationships. We become afraid to take risks, to speak up, or to share our ideas because we're worried about what others might think. We start to play it safe, and we miss out on the opportunities that come with being authentic and vulnerable. Fear of failure can even affect our physical and mental health. We become anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed, and we start to make poor choices that lead to burnout, depression, and anxiety disorders. But here's the thing, the fear of failure is not just a personal problem, it's a cultural phenomenon. We're taught from a young age that failure is bad, that it's not acceptable, and that we should avoid it at all costs. We're taught to be perfect, to be successful, and to be winners. And that's just not realistic. You know, I used to be terrified of failure. I would spend hours, even days, overthinking every little decision, every little move, because I was so afraid of making a mistake. But then I realized that failure is not the end of the world. In fact, it's often the beginning of a new chapter. When we're afraid of failure, we start to play it safe, and we settle for mediocrity. We stick to what we know, and we miss out on the incredible opportunities that come with taking risks. You know, Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, is famously quoted as saying, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset we need to adopt. We need to see failure as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to improve. I want to share a personal story with you. I used to be afraid of public speaking. I would get nervous, I would stumble over my words, and I would avoid speaking up in meetings. But then I realized that the only way to get better was to face my fear head on. So I started taking public speaking courses. I started speaking up in meetings, and I started recording videos on YouTube. And you know what? It wasn't easy. I stumbled, I made mistakes, and I faced rejection. But I didn't let that hold me back. Let me ask you a question. What's the worst that could happen if you take a risk and fail? Will the world come to an end? Will you lose everything? Probably not. In fact, the worst that could happen is that you'll learn something new, and you'll grow as a person. So, here's the insight I want to share with you. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Every successful person has failed at some point in their lives. Every successful entrepreneur, every successful athlete, every successful thought leader has failed. And they've failed big. The key is to see failure as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to improve. The key is to embrace failure, to take calculated risks, and to be willing to experiment. When we start to see failure as an opportunity, We start to live a life that's more authentic, more fulfilling, and more meaningful. We start to take risks, we start to pursue our passions, and we start to live the life we truly desire. So, let's recap the main points we've discussed today. The fear of failure is a real obstacle that holds us back from achieving our true potential. It affects our decision-making, our confidence, and our overall happiness. But when we face our fears, when we take calculated risks, and when we see failure as an opportunity to learn, we can overcome that fear and achieve greatness. So, I want to leave you with a challenge today. I want to challenge you to face your fear of failure head-on. Take one risk this week, take one step outside of your comfort zone, and see what happens. I promise you, it'll be worth it. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to share your own story of overcoming fear, please leave it in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my next video on how to build resilience and bounce back from failure.